What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today. And in today's video, we're taking a look at all of the characters from LEGO Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which of course is the third episode of Star Wars. Now, the format of this video is we're going to start at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith and work our way pretty much chronologically from beginning to end, taking a look at every character that appears in the film and how to build them in LEGO form if they don't already exist. So this is a bit of a history lesson, a bit of a tutorial, but in any case, it's a dream video for any LEGO Star Wars fans that like Episode 3. If you're into content like this, be sure to hit like and subscribe down below, and without further ado, let's get into this video. And this is where the fun begins, because we're starting off taking a look at Anakin from when the episode opens. So the big thing here, of course, is that he has his headset on since he's in pilot mode. Now, I do want to point out that the version we're looking at here is a little bit older. The easier version to get as of this video would be the 2020 version of Anakin here, but the thing is, the torso they used is his Mustafar battle version that's kind of like torn up already, so needless to say, at the beginning of the movie, his robes wouldn't be, burnt up like this. So while this figure is easier to get, I think this one is better representative of Anakin from this scene. So if you want to do like a mix match, because I think the head on this one actually looks pretty good. Anyways, I just always like to show you guys options on how you can complete and build out your collection, so that's what we're doing here.
Hello there.
Here we've got Obi-Wan in his piloting outfit, which I guess isn't all that different from the rest of his outfits in the film, but this is kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of different Obi-Wans from different sets. So the big change here is that I used the hair from Ron from the LEGO Harry Potter collectible minifigure series. I just really like that look for Obi-Wan. I know that some people like the flat hair that they give him in the sets, but for me, I really like the look of this hair. This face here, of course, has the piloting headset, which he uses when he's flying, so that's what we're looking at there. Then, like I said, the torso legs have come from different Obi-Wans, but you're going to want to switch out the head to this one, which is just kind of the regular Obi-Wan head, whenever he's not in piloting mode. So let's take this head off and show you what it looks like here. There we go, easy peasy. Now, another change that we want to talk about, and this figure will appear later in the video, is the Mustafar version of Obi-Wan from 2020, that set there. So, the thing is, the Mustafar version was also used in the General Grievous's Starfighter set, but his robes are all burnt up, like from the end of the movie, so that wouldn't make sense for the beginning of the film, but, the head could work, or if you like that hair, whatever. Once again, I'm just going to show you guys some options as we go through all the figures from this movie. Okay, so continuing in rough chronological order, we of course have R2-D2 here. The version we're looking at is the most recent version as of this video, but I want to show you guys my trick to have his other leg come out. So you'll move your R2 up like this, then you need the lipstick piece, which of course is a minifigure accessory, then a cheese slope piece, and then you need a 1x1 stud with a hole in it so that this lipstick piece can go there, and then you take this, just like that, turn that down, and then R2 can have his additional leg. It's just something fun, and since we're doing a lot of customs in this showcase, it definitely fits right here. Here we've got Obi-Wan's droid, R4-P17, who unfortunately dies at the hand of the Buzz droids, but he's still a really cool figure and pretty rare because he's come in a couple different versions, but really only a few sets over the years, so he's pretty highly desirable, and I love the way he looks. Speaking of those pesky Buzz droids, we've got one right here. This is the more modern version of the Buzz droid, which hasn't come out for a few years. Well, the better way to say that is it was in sets a few years ago, but we're probably due for a new one, but this is a pretty simple one. It's not really a minifigure per se because it's a brick build, but it definitely should fit in this video. As we're making our way through the battle over Coruscant, we of course have clone pilots. It only makes sense, right? So if we lift that up, you can see he's got two faces printed underneath, and I actually think it looks a lot like Tamara Morrison, who of course was Jango Fett and played the faces of the clones in these films, but I really love the way that this turned out from LEGO. It's not a custom or anything like that, but it's come in like the ARC 170 microfighters as well as like the ARC 170 sets over the years, so definitely a really cool variation of the clone trooper.
Roger, roger.
Alright, once Anakin and Obi-Wan land on the invisible hand, they run into some battle droids, so that's what we're looking at here. These aren't customs, they're just regular old battle droids, nothing too fancy to say about them, but we're going through every character, so they've got to come in right here. Here we've got the most recent version of General Grievous, and man, doesn't this figure look great. The other thing is that this is the original General Grievous cape from 2005, from the first wave of Revenge of the Sith sets, and this is my original cape that my Grievous minifigure had all those years ago. If you take Grievous's head off, you can see that there's a little Technic pin grip that it goes into there. You just slide that onto his neck, and I think it looks so great. I don't see LEGO ever doing this because it feels kind of like an illegal building technique to me. I don't know if it is for sure or not, but it does look really great once you add that. Now here's a rare figure you may not have seen before, and that is Grievous's bodyguard. Now these figures came in a Magna Guard ship from many years ago, or is it Magna Guard? I don't know. Anyways, I call them Grievous's bodyguards because I think that's what the old toys used to call them, and I've just called them that my whole life. Anyways, they only ever came in one set from the Clone Wars back around 2008 or so they are very rare, but I honestly don't know how LEGO could possibly make them better. They look so great, and I think it came with 2 or 3 of them. I know I have 2 in my collection, and I had that set, so that's what I'm thinking. There was 2 originally, and they look great. Here we've got Chancellor Palpatine while he's arrested by Count Dooku, and I feel like a lot of people don't know this figure exists because it came in a kind of sleeper set that just kind of passed people by, but it looks really great. I really love how wrinkly they made his face. I know that's kind of a weird thing to point out, but even on the flip side, his more reserved face, I really think it looks like Ian McDiarmid, and I love the way this figure looks. So I got this in a collection. I bought somebody's Star Wars collection last year, and this was mixed in with it, and it was really awesome to get. I love this figure. Speaking of rare figures, we have Count Dooku. Despite the fact that he's one of the main villains of the prequels, he's only ever come in a few sets. He came in a few Clone Wars sets, but he looks kind of cartoony because of that. He came in a set from 2002 from Attack of the Clones that had yellow, heads and hands and all that, but this version here only ever came in one set. It was the set where Yoda and Dooku are battling from Episode 2, so I didn't really make any additions here. I think that this figure looks really great right out of the gate. And just a fun fact, this is the only LEGO Star Wars figure of the modern era to come with the silver lightsaber blades. This is how all lightsaber blades looked in the early 2000s, and for whatever reason they discontinued doing them in that kind of silvery chrome look, but Count Dooku continues to get it because he's the king of cool. Once Anakin and Obi-Wan land on Coruscant after another happy landing, they run into some familiar faces, which of course includes C-3PO. Now, he pretty much looks the same throughout the movie, so I just used this regular old C-3PO from the original trilogy. Nothing too special about him, but still a great figure, and LEGO's really mastered the C-3PO design. I just wish he got arm printing at some point, but maybe we'll get there eventually. Here we've got a purist custom of Bail Organa made using only official LEGO parts and pieces. Now to build this, I went ahead and used the hands, head, and hair from Bail Organa from the Tantive 4 set. Pretty expensive set, but it is the only Bail Organa minifigure we've gotten to date, so that's where I had to draw from. The cape is a dark gray cape, which I got from Gandalf, most commonly appeared there. And then the torso and legs are from the AT-ST driver. Here's his head from LEGO Star Wars. So pretty simple to build if you have that rare Bail Organa figure. Now, if there's one character I know you clicked on this video to see how to build, I know it's Senator Jar Jar Binks. Okay, not really, but to build this figure, I just used the torso and legs from Dumbledore from LEGO Harry Potter, and the head and hands from regular old Jar Jar Binks. And here we'll be taking a look at how to build pregnant Padme as well as baby Luke and baby Leia. Now, baby Luke and Leia are easy because they're just any LEGO baby character with Luke's hair and Leia's hair put on there. It really doesn't matter what hair you use or anything, just to kind of get that across. So I just thought that was a funny way to show that, but Padme was actually a little bit more tricky. If you take a look at her suit from the movie, it's really pretty much impossible to get into LEGO form. If you guys have any ideas, drop a comment below, but what I went with here was just trying to get that X bracket across the top of her torso, and then even though the legs aren't exactly the same color, I thought that the black boots with a muted color pant actually was a good way to kind of meet in the middle there. So these are just legs from like Batman, or they've come on Miles Morales in 2021, lots of different places. This torso is from Black Black Panther, just flipped around. You can see it's a little more ornate on that side, but I think it works okay on this side. And then the head and hair is from Padme from the Republic gunship from Attack of the Clones. So at this point of the film, we actually see Darth Sidious appear in a hologram to General Grievous. So at this point, obviously, his face wouldn't be deformed yet, so I used the Palpatine face from Palpatine's arrest underneath there, with the rest of the body being from Darth Sidious. Of course, after he transforms into the Emperor, you could use the regular old head there, but that's what I used here. Now, you will recall earlier that I used a version of Palpatine that is kind of rare, at least my description made him out to be that way, so you could also use that Palpatine if you had it, but I'm just showing you guys some cool options. Next up, we have Anakin when he wakes up from his nightmare about Padme, and to build this figure, it's actually pretty simple. The legs are just plain black legs, with the torso from Batman, from the Lego Batman collectible minifigure series, from the movie that is. I popped a gold hand on there from C-3PO because, of course, he's not wearing his glove to sleep, and it's really one of the only times we ever see Anakin's hand exactly like that, other than at the end of Episode 2. Anyways, the face is from 2020 Anakin, and then the hair is from the Lego store. They had this hair at the Build a Minifigure section a while back, and sometimes I catch heat for using this hair, but I really do think it looks like Hayden Christensen's hair from this movie, so that's what I chose to use. Here we have Chancellor Palpatine in his outfit from when the Jedi go to arrest him, but he wears it for a couple scenes before that. To build this figure, I used the legs, torso, and hair from Palpatine from the Palpatine's Arrest set, with the head from the Arrested Palpatine. Isn't that confusing? Lots of arrested development in that sentence. But anyways, I just think that the eyebrows being kind of blonde match that hair pretty well. But of course, you could also use the white hair that Palpatine comes with. Or if you don't want to have two Palpatines, you could just use the head from the original Palpatine's arrest figure, just like that. And when you flip that hair around, you can see he's got his evil Sith eyes. So it's a really cool figure, and unfortunately, both of them are pretty dang rare. Now we're getting into the Jedi segment of this video, or at least a lot of Jedi show up in chronological order here. So we've got Mace Windu from the Palpatine's Arrest set. I love that purple lightsaber, and I know there have been some Mace Windus over the years that have had some leg printing and things like that, but I've always just thought this figure looked so great and is hard to make look any better. Here we've got Yoda, and in previous videos I'd gotten some flack for not using the prequel version of Yoda, but I finally got him, and I can include him in this video. So, no upgrades here. I did make sure he has a short little walking stick in his lightsaber, though, because he uses both of them in this movie. And by this point of the video, you may be thinking, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? And for that, I'd say, don't worry. We've got Ki-Adi-Mundi here. At least I'm pretty sure that's how to pronounce his name. No upgrades made to this figure because, honestly, LEGO really knocked it out of the park with the most recent version that came in a battle pack a few years ago. Here we've got Kit Fisto, who's actually a pretty rare figure. He's only come in a couple sets over the years. You can see this one's a little torn up because my dog actually chewed on it when I was growing up, but I still got my original one, and it's a lot of fun all these years later. Here we've got Plo Koon, who has not showed up in a LEGO set in quite some time as of this video, but this is the one I grew up with. I got him during the Clone Wars era in 2008, and it's a really great figure. The head is actually kind of rubbery. It's its own unique mold, of course, and it's a really awesome figure. Here we've got Agen Kolar, who as of this video has only come in one LEGO set, and that was the Palpatine's Arrest set, which is quite rare these days. It's an amazing figure, especially with this uniquely molded headpiece, and he's got great printing, and there's just not much more to say about him, but he is an awesome figure. Here we've got Saisi Tin, who also came in that Palpatine's Arrest set. Not much to show here because it's a pretty basic figure, but man, does it look screen accurate. I've always really loved this figure. Here we have Luminara. Now, I actually do not have this figure. They've made her a couple times over the years. She just never has come across my collection and stayed. So here's what she would look like if I did own her. Great figure, but that's all there is to say about it. Here we've got Chewbacca in Chief Tarful from Kashyyyk. Unfortunately, I do not have Commander Gree, who recently came in a set with Tarful, but I do have these two, and they are really awesome figures. I've really loved these, and it was cool to actually get a Tarful figure a few years back, and then again recently. Really awesome figures, and they definitely add to the collection. So as I mentioned in the last segment, unfortunately, I do not have Commander Gree, but I do have the Kashyyyk Troopers from a set that came out a few years ago that was a battle pack with these. So you would have got 2 of these guys and 2 of these guys. These are definitely some of the more desirable clone troopers, and I mean, can you blame people? They look fantastic. I love the camo aesthetic of them, and all these years later, my only regret is not having bought like 50 of these when they were on store shelves all those years ago. Now here we've got Phase 2 Commander Cody. Now this is a figure that LEGO has never made officially, but this is a custom that I'm told came from Clone Army Customs. I bought somebody's entire collection recently and this was in there, and definitely some amazing arm detailing, back detailing, even printing on the back of the legs. Just such a great figure. I love the detail of him holding up the Order 66 little module there, and of course the helmet looks great. If we lift that up, you can see that he's got a 501st Trooper head, and it's just a really great figure all around. Then, of course, we have our Utapau Clone Troopers. I believe they're a part of the 212th, and these figures are great. They came in a battle pack together years and years ago, and I've just always loved the orange on white aesthetic. Really, really fantastic figures. You guys had to know this was coming. Next, we have our 501st Troopers here. Nothing too special about these guys. They're just the ones from the battle pack, although this one's pretty special because he's a misprint. If you look at the helmets side by side, you can see it's printed a little lopsided, and I actually pulled that out of a pack. I just love to show it off in any video I get the chance to because it's something you may not have seen every day, and I am so lucky and so grateful to have pulled one from one of my packs. I actually did a video recently on all of my 501st Troopers, so if you want to check out that video, you should check it out here on my channel. Here we've got Aayla Secura, who came in a clone tank set a few years back. Really great figure, and definitely better than her Clone Wars version. If you lift up her headpiece here, you can see she's kind of got an angry fighting face on this side, and it's definitely a really, really cool figure. This character is Stas Ali, and she has been made as a LEGO figure, as you can see here on screen, but unfortunately she's another one of those ones that just kind of got away from me, and I never had her in my collection. So here's what she would look like if I did. Here we've got Newt Gunray and one of the Nemoidians from Mustafar. So this Newt Gunray came in a set with Anakin's green Jedi Starfighter a few years back. It's actually a kind of a sleeper set. I really thought that was a cool set. And then the Nemoidian came with a Vulture droid a few years back, which honestly was a kind of cool set in its own right as well. And you guys knew it was all building to this, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Now, both of these figures came in the Mustafar Duel set in 2020, a really great set that if you haven't got, you definitely should before it skyrockets in price. But I really like this because their Jedi robes are kind of burnt up as if they've been around lava, because of course they have, and they both look really great. But again, I did change out Anakin's hair to that hair from the Build-A-Minifig station at the LEGO store because I know I'm gonna catch heat for it, but I do think that it's a pretty good looking hair for the character. So after Anakin gets burnt up, Palpatine comes to Mustafar to look for him, and he has some shock troopers with him. So here are the shock troopers. Unfortunately, once again, these are some figures that I just don't have in my collection, but man, do I wish I did. Speaking of Anakin getting burnt up, here he is. This is from a Palpatine's shuttle set a few years back that kind of had this burnt up Anakin. It's actually a pretty morbid figure when you really stop and think about it, and the head works great for Deadpool customs, but if I'm being honest, to make him more accurate, I might just go ahead and pull the legs off entirely like that, and maybe even this arm too, and just leave him like that. Now, LEGO could never put a figure exactly as he's in my hand like this in a set, because that's like kind of breaking their rules of taking figures apart or anything like that, but I do think that that's definitely the most accurate if you are going to make some stop motions or something and have him crawl up the, you know, kind of like sandy hill there, I guess. And then everything culminates with Darth Vader. Now, this is the most recent version of Darth Vader from 2020 that has the arm printing on both sides of the arm. Then, of course, you can lift it up and see he's got his white face under there. If you really wanted to, I might put Anakin's burnt head underneath there just for some Episode 3 specificity, if I could say that word. That would be great. But anyways, great looking figure, one of the better Darth Vaders yet, and a great way to cap off this showcase. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. Be sure to let me know which figures in this video you think look the best, and let me know if you've ever made any customs from this film. Coming up soon will be Star Wars Episode 4, as well as Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, and in the meantime, you can go back and check out my other videos for other movies just like this one. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys on the next video. If you liked what you saw and you liked what you heard, feel free to click that subscribe button for more LEGO videos coming in the near future.